Hey guys, good morning and welcome back. Today we have the G-Shock Maneki Neko or Beckoning Cat Limited Edition, and this is model number GA-100TMN-1. Now we're just going to take a quick look at this really cool watch. There are tons of reviews of the GA-100 series out there, so I'm not going to do a full review. Y'all have seen millions of those different reviews. This is a limited edition out of Japan. It's a really cool little watch, and I just wanted to kind of show it to you. I just thought the design, the styling was really cool. I love this blue box. Kind of reminds me of like a Tiffany style box. Anyway, I just like the overall look of this watch. Yes, it's gaudy. Yes, it's got tons of gold on it. It's not very legible actually, but I just think it's really cool. Plus, I learned what all of those little cats are. Whenever you go into a Japanese or Chinese restaurant, I learned what those things are. And if you don't get anything from this review, it's not even really a review, but if you don't get anything from this video, you will now know what those little cats are. Also, make sure you check out my Amazon shopping channel if you like this or any of the other watches I've reviewed on my channel. I do get a small commission if you buy from my Amazon store, so I definitely appreciate it. Again, tons of reviews have been done about the GA-100 series, so this is not going to be a full review on the watch. I basically just want to show you the watch, show you the packaging, all the neat little intricate details. Anyway, I think it's pretty cool. Some of y'all are gonna love it, some of y'all are gonna hate it, but I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, this is based on the famous Maneki Neko or beckoning cat that you see everywhere at the entrance to Chinese and Japanese restaurants and shops that come in all different sizes and color combinations. Anyway, let's go ahead and open this thing up. Again, I like the kind of Tiffany blue style box. And I like good packaging, but this is really cool. I mean, look at the detail on this tin. I just think it's really cool. The tin was designed by a Japanese kind of fashion house called Black Eye Patch. They designed these things. I just think it's fantastic looking. Look at that. Pretty cool, man. And then you open it up. You see Tokyo, Japan right there. Pretty cool. I just think it's fantastic looking tin, man. Really neat. You'll see Mount Fuji. You'll see the Maneki Neko right there. Most of them are wearing a bell and they have a what it's called a koban. It's a gold coin. I'll explain a little bit more about that later. And I'll also explain the significance whether they have their left or right paw raised. So there's the tin. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead and take the watch out. Now you know what you get in the bottom. I'm not even going to show you that stuff. You get your warranty card, your manual, a registration card, and some other stuff. And just to show you, actually, let me show you this. You know it's a Japanese model because, boom, there you go. Written in Japanese. Pretty cool. Now, most of these are actually, it's going to be a Japanese movement, but they're, mostly going to be cased and made in Thailand. And the fact that this is actually made in Japan is pretty interesting. I guess they wanted to make sure they get everything right, all the details right. So that's why this is actually made in Japan, and I'll show you that a little bit later as well. Pretty cool little watch. All right, so let's talk about the Maneki Neko. Now, supposedly if the right paw is raised, that means good fortune and wealth. And if the left paw is raised, that's to attract customers. So if you go into a business, now of course a restaurant's also a business, but a lot of times you'll see the cat with the left paw raised, and that's to attract customers. You'll also see them wearing a bell on their collar and holding a gold coin called a koban. The koban dates back to the 1600s, and Japan stopped making the koban about 150 years ago. I think it was like 1867. So again, most of them have a bell around their collar. That's basically so the Japanese could kind of keep track of their cats and make sure they knew where the cats were. And they're going to be holding that gold coin. Again, this is all for good luck and fortune and that type of stuff. So in Japan, when they do this, they're not saying bye-bye like we do in the Western world. That actually means this. That actually means welcome, hence the beckoning cat. So it's reversed. It's really interesting, how different cultures have different, traditions and gestures. So, to me, just to wave bye-bye, that actually means, goodbye. But over in Japan, that actually means, hey, come over here. Or, like I said, the beckoning cat. Really, really interesting. So if you look at the dial, you'll see the gold koban coin all over the dial. And if you look at the 12 o'clock chronograph hand, you'll see a little cat on the back end of the hand there. Now, the only problem with this dial is that everything is gold, so the analog hands really blend in with that dial, and it's next to impossible to read the time by the hands because everything blends in so much. Now, they do have a little white tip on the hour hand and the minute hand, but still, it's really hard to read. You have to look at the dial for a second to tell the analog time. That's why you're really going to probably most of the time look at the digital time and see. So you can see it's 11:30 now. And that's easy to read, but because the dial is so blinged out and there's just gold, everywhere, it's really hard to read that analog time. That's the only gripe I have with the watch. Yeah, it's tacky, it's gaudy looking, but man, I just love it. I think it's really cool, even though, legibility is really a problem. So, anyway, take that for what it's worth. But again, interesting design elements. Again, you'll see the gold Koban coin all over the dial. Of course, gold everywhere, red everywhere. Red is, the lucky color in Japanese and kind of, Asian, Chinese cultures. So you'll see that everywhere. It's just a cool looking watch, man. I think it's a really, really neat looking watch. Let me look at the rest of it. Just a normal GA-100 case. Nothing special about that. Let me show you one other feature that's only on these 3 watches. In fact, let me go ahead and put the other 2 up on the left-hand side of the screen. They're based on the DW5600. Let me squeeze this over a little bit. Here are the other versions. I like both of them. They're not bad. I kind of like this one more because it's really over the top. It kind of reminds me of those Pacquiao slot or pachinko machines. It's just really cool looking. So anyway, so here is the other feature only on these. If you look, you'll see a little cutout of a cat right there on the keeper. Pretty interesting. And this is only on these 3 models. See a little cat right there. Let me also show you the case back where you can see Japan. Where is it? Right there where my finger's pointing. Right there, Japan. Most of the time, this is going to say cased in Thailand, but as you can see, the watch is actually made in Japan. Pretty cool, man. Again, not going to be for everybody, but I just like the effort they put into the tin, the actual dial. I just think it's a really, neat little watch, man. And they're selling out pretty quickly. I think you can still get them on Amazon if you look. I don't know about the other 2. I haven't really looked for the other 2, the DW5600s. But I just saw this like, you know what? I've got to, 1, check out this watch because it is so gaudy. And 2, I wanted to learn about the beckoning cat. I have never, known what a Maneki Neko was. Of course, you see them everywhere, but I wanted to figure out what that stuff was. So anyway, let me go try the watch on. There you go. Again, man, look at the hands. It's really hard to tell the time with the analog hands. There you go. All right. And let me show you the basic features real quick before I give you a loom shot. Of course, you know what you get, man. There's your time mode. There is your stopwatch. So you can either do split times or lap times. And of course, when you start it, you'll see the hand move. It'll stop right there. There you go. Reset it. I don't know if anybody really uses these stopwatch features. I guess, some athletes probably do. All right, so you go back. Here's your timer. There's your world time. I think it's actually set to Tokyo. Yep. So it's 1:34 in the morning over in Tokyo. There's your alarm. One of, I think, 3 or 4? Yep. You also have a snooze alarm. There's a signal. That's your little beep, your little hourly chime. There you go. And I think it's back to regular timekeeping. Yep, there we go. And you can also set it to show either the time that's coordinated with the analog hands or the date, I believe. Yep, there you go. So it's March 1st. There you go. And it looks like the seconds in the day always show up. And let me go ahead and set this to the auto light. This does have an auto light feature. And if you notice, look at this little LCD segment right there. When you press and hold this in for, I think, 4 seconds, that's what turns on the auto light feature. There you go. You see that little segment popped up. So now when I turn out the studio light and the monitor, whenever I tilt this, I think it's 15 degrees. There you go. It comes on. You can also set it for 1 or 3 seconds. This thing is pretty sensitive and it does come on a lot. So I would maybe recommend turning this feature off because that is going to drain your battery. This thing does come on pretty easily. But it's got a nice, gold. It's really bright too. Look at that, man. Wow. I didn't realize how bright it was. There you go. Even with the backlight, the analog hands are still pretty hard to read. So there you go. Now there are about 25 different colorways of this GA-100. So I would recommend, if you don't want to spend a premium, so the premium's looking about, gosh, $60 over a regular GA-100. I think a regular GA-100 is about, I don't know, $70. So you're going to spend like a $60 premium to get this watch. Is it worth it? That's entirely up to you, man. But I just think it's a cool little watch. I like the fact that, again, I learned about the Maneki Neko, never knew what that was. I think it's kind of a cool watch. It's a little blingy, a little bit too gaudy for me, but some of y'all are going to love it. In fact, let me go ahead and turn off this auto. See, it just comes on all the time. Let me turn off this auto light feature. There we go. Now, I forgot if I told you I was going to put up some close-ups. So here's some close-ups of the watch. So guys, that's been about it for this one. If you want to get this watch, head on over to Amazon. They're currently $130. I'll make sure to put a link in the description field for you. And again, I do get a small commission if you buy from my Amazon store, so I definitely appreciate it. And as always, make sure you like and subscribe and click that notification bell. And again, I think I told you in the last review, I've got a whole bunch of shopping in Japan watches coming next week, so I'm super excited about that. Again, guys, this has been the G-Shock Maneki Neko or Beckoning Cat Limited Edition. This is model number GA-100MTN-1A. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next review. Take care. Bye-bye.